11 is such a weird episode to end a series on, but considering how awesome the ending was, I'm not exactly complaining. Anyway, hello everybody, welcome back to our final Millionaire Detective Balance Unlimited discussion video. Today we're here to talk all about the finale, episode 11, All That Glitters Is Not Gold. But before we get into the video proper, did you know that 60% of the people who watch these videos aren't subbed? That's insane! What are you doing? Hit the sub button, come on now. You're hurting my feelings at this point. Anyway, let's go ahead and start the video. Okay, so there's actually a lot to unpack here. And I mean, we kind of figured that, right? Last week we were like, oh, Shigemaru, this friggin' guy, ooh, we're gonna get him, right? Like we ended last week by saying like, we're gonna get this guy. He's already pretty far gone by this point. And I don't just mean physically, I mean like mentally as well. We'll get into it, but we basically dig into the Kanbei family secrets this week. We gotta talk about that. We gotta talk about Haru's personal journey, we gotta talk about Daisuke's personal journey, we gotta talk about the wrap-up of the series, which, if I'm honest, kind of leans in pretty nicely into what could be a follow-up, tracking down the misuse of Adolium. But we'll get into that further in the video. But I want to start by talking about the Daisuke family secrets. So, as I said, Shigemaru definitely starts the episode by, we start it by thinking that Shigemaru is, the main villain, right? Wrong! It's not Shigemaru. We'll get into it. But basically, we find out that Shigemaru never killed Sayuri. That was a ruse. Although, in fairness, when this dude walks in, and he sees that his wife has been stabbed in the chest, is clearly dead, he picks the knife out of her and just kind of stands above her, and I'm like, why would you do that? I was like, why would you do that? All you did was traumatize poor Daisuke. I know he didn't know that Daisuke was there, but I'm just saying, it's not a great look. You got fingerprints all over the murder weapon, so that's not ideal. But yeah, it turns out Shigemaru never killed Sayuri. In fact, he straight up loved her so much that he couldn't let her go. He has this argument with her when she says, are you just gonna keep the secrets of Adolium away from the public, just to make more money for the family? That's really what we're doing? And of course he's like, that's not it, you don't understand, there's so much at stake, blah, blah, blah. But she storms out because she's like, this is wrong. And she's right, it is wrong. So she just storms out, and he's like, oh, damn it, right? And so he doesn't follow her, but he gets a letter from her, and it just makes him feel some kind of way, so he moves, right? He goes to go find her, and Hattori and Granny Kanbei notice that he goes after her. So when Shigemaru goes to see her, she's already gone. And he was basically willing to throw the Kanbei family into hell just to be with her, right? Just to make his family whole again. And essentially reveal Adolium as she wanted, right? That was basically the crux of the issue here, and Granny Kanbei couldn't let that happen because, yes, as it turns out, it wasn't Shigemaru who killed Sayuri, it was Hattori this whole time. And not Hattori from Fruits Basket, although that would have been a hell of a twist. No. Hattori from, Balance Unlimited. I lost my shit. I was genuinely... Okay, now, I had said before that I found Hattori sus, right? I had said, Hattori, to me, I had said, what if Hattori is actually Shigemaru in disguise? Or, what if it's Hattori in some case? I said this in a video. You can go back and watch it. At some point, I'm positive I said, what if Shigemaru was Hattori? So it was, half right? But, when they reveal that he was posing as Shigemaru, I'm like, I don't care, I'm counting that as a win, I was kind of right, I knew Hattori was sus from the jump, I was kind of right. So I was like, Shigemaru this whole time was actually Hattori, which means not only did Hattori kill Sayuri, but Shigemaru wasn't the one who killed Cho and Take, no, that was Hattori this whole time. So, Hattori, ultimate betrayal, but the thing that I didn't see coming is that the mastermind of all of this, the one pulling the strings, it wasn't even Hattori, he was just the front man, he was just the dude on the mission, he was the muscle. No, this whole time, it was Granny Kanbei. That's insane. Wow, Granny Kanbei this whole time, she was evil this whole time. Wow. And what sucks for poor Shigemaru is he's still alive, right? And we're yay, like we're meant to be like, okay, like so he's still alive, cool. And later they have this scene on the beach with because of course it's on the beach with like at sunset no less, with Haru and Daisuke, where Haru says like, did you talk to him? And Daisuke's like, nah. And it seems as though or did you meet with him? And he's like, no. But we see that Shigemaru's there, and he's in a wheelchair, but he looks like spaced out. So I'm wondering if like maybe he's been catatonic this whole time. Like maybe he's just like completely like not there anymore. It's a really suddenly sad ending for Shigemaru, which is like, damn, I didn't see that coming, but I'm genuinely so shocked and impressed that they pulled that off. But we gotta talk a little bit now about Haru's own personal journey in the episode, and there's actually quite a bit to talk about, like especially just like given like making Hattori and Granny Kanbei the real culprits is genius from a storytelling perspective, because I never saw it coming, but it does make sense to me, right? Like, it does make sense that she says, like, I would do anything to protect my family, but it's really I'd do anything to protect my family name, you know what I mean? And this is within her means. It's part of the reason why Hyusuke wasn't helping them, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's the reason why it always seemed like Shigemaru was, like, a million steps ahead of them this whole time. It's mental, right? Like, it's just... there's a lot going on. And what's crazy to me is that by splitting it, right, by making it Granny Kanbei and Hattori, you give both Haru and Daisuke a final culmination of their character arc, right? You give both of them a physical manifestation of their current dilemma, right? Haru wants to become a hero, right? He wants to become a hero and find vengeance for Cho and Take. And Daisuke, well, we'll get into Daisuke's stuff in a second. But with Haru, like, that's the main thing, is Haru is on this mission now basically to be a hero. He wants to find that fire again. And as Hoshino pointed out last week, it really does seem as though the washed up detective and the millionaire rich kid actually did manage to become heroes. And this is like the final test of what makes the hero, right? Like, and it's Haru, like, overcoming the odds and redeeming himself as a hero again. And for Daisuke, we'll get into it. But with Haru, like, taking down Hattori, this big showdown where Hattori is vastly stronger, right? Like, Hattori, like, we see him do like a friggin' backflip and stuff, and we know that he can take down Cho and Take as like a unit. Like, he took them down like with the two of them together. Haru's on his own. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't have backup. This is just him. So the odds are absolutely stacked against him. And it's such a brutal scene as well. Like, when Hattori like is like, what are you doing? Why are you following me? He's like, I'm taking you in. You killed Cho and Take this whole time. It was you. I'm taking you down. And Hattori's like, yeah, you can try, bud. And he like straight up like charges at him, and Hattori grabs the gun from Haru, flips back, and then just shoots Haru in the leg, right? He's like, I missed your vitals, but you gotta go get help now, otherwise you're gonna bleed out. Okay, so leave me alone. I have no beef with you. And Haru's like, oh yeah, well, I got beef with you. And he like jumps at the dude. He like charges at him, and as he charges at him, a bullet just skids the side of his face, and he jumps at Hattori, and I'm thinking, like, I don't know what the play here is, Haru, because, like, that gun is aiming towards you. And then Haru, like, digs into Hattori's wound. Like, he digs into, like, the wound he had from, like, the last episode, and, like, just puts all this pressure, like, the full weight of his pressure. It's a brutal scene. He, like, straight up kills Hattori. And to me, I think that's another big sign of Haru's character, is knowing when to take a life. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of it. And so the fact that Haru deems, like, Hattori is bad, Hattori needs to die, so I'm gonna take him out. Hattori's gonna kill me, and he's literally gonna get away with killing Cho and Take, so no, he's going down. And he, like, straight up makes the dude, this is brutal. Like, it's just vicious. But at the same time, I was like, yeah! Like, it was so visceral. I was, like, literally cheering, like, yeah, Haru! Oh, it was so great. I loved it. And also, Haru accidentally saving Daisuke from having to make an ultimate decision at the end is hilarious, but that leads us nicely into the Daisuke thing. So I mentioned that both Haru and Daisuke have physical obstacles that they are meant to overcome this week. And with Haru, it's like literally physical, right? But with Daisuke, it's more of like an emotional final battle, right? Between him and Granny Kanbei. And with Daisuke, it's basically like we start the episode with him recalling the set of events that led him to where he is right now. And we see how like he was after the events of what happened with his parents. Daisuke says that he felt like hollow and empty and nothing felt like it quite clicked. We see his like he was like some sort of boxing champion, so he did turn to like boxing maybe to try to cope, to like fight the pain away, but it didn't work. And we see him go abroad, and then he gets like the glasses where they show like they basically show him like you need to come back, like you need to come back. And really this was Granny Kanbei saying like come back and I'm gonna give you this like fake mystery to solve just so you can come back into the family. But with Daisuke, it sort of reinvigorates him, like traveling abroad and everything, like it sort of reinvigorates him, and he's decided he's going to track down and figure out what the high hell happened to his parents. So when he does come back to Japan, his search for answers, his like quest for vengeance, essentially actually leads him to discovering something totally different and discovering justice in the form of Haru. Like we see from his point of view meeting Haru, right? Like we see like the car flying through the streets, and then we eventually see Haru stopping him and going like, you're under arrest, blah, blah, blah. And this is the moment where the two of them meet, and forever their fates are changed. And again, because they be partners in more ways than one. But yeah, it's nice to see this moment from Daisuke's perspective, but it also sort of puts into perspective how Daisuke's family has sort of like his own past is corrupted by something, and this eventually leads him to Granny Kanbei, where she basically gives him the same ultimatum that ultimately destroyed his parents, where you have to uphold the Kanbei family legacy. And we get this scene, and I'm likely showing it on screen, where you see like money and the world, essentially Granny Kanbei saying like, you have to like live up to the Kanbei legacy, and in doing so you will have everything. Through our money, through our balance unlimited, you literally will have the world in the palm of your hand. Like we make justice because we have the money to straight up buy justice, you know what I mean? And I think part of this lesson is knowing that Daisuke needs help, that like Daisuke needs something that money can't buy him, and that is a partner, right? Like that's people that he can rely on. So that's folks like Haru and Suzue and the First Division, like Hoshino even though I don't like the guy. But even the people that we meet along the way, right? Like it's the people in Daisuke's life who have helped him come to this moment in time. Relying on them doesn't make him weaker. It just helps him see what needs to be done, right? And Haru accidentally hitting the transfer button, and they do say that they have time to stop it, right? Like, because she's like, you like tell Husk to stop it from being transferred, like the information about Adolium. Like Granny Kanbei's like, tell Husk to stop it. He's like, no, right? Like, because Daisuke's like, tell Haru I said thank you, and he laughs, like he genuinely laughs. And in fact, I'm probably gonna use that laughter as a thumbnail. You just see him laugh, and he like is just merry about it. Like the whole thing is a genuinely like happy moment for him, and it's the moment where he's allowing Haru to sort of take the wheel. And it's not so much that he's letting him take the wheel, but as much as he's aware that not everything needs to be solved by him, not everything needs to be solved by money. Sometimes you can rely on people, which is something that money can't buy. And I like that he has that moment where it like that laughter, you can see just the weight come off his shoulders, as though like having to live up to the Kanbei name is just gone now, and he has this moment where he can just laugh and be happy. And unfortunately, it does lead to Granny Kanbei being arrested, but she deserves it. So yeah, she's gone. It's not like she dies or anything. She's not like Hattori, Hattori's dead, but like Granny Kanbei is not dead. So again, if we ever do get another season, I can see her being like a Hannibal Lecter type character, where like we talk to her in prison and stuff. Maybe about more secrets about Adolium, but that actually leads us nicely into like the wrap up, because now the duo just kind of go on adventures. We actually get to see a lot of like different wrap up. I'll quickly mention that the Kanbei family is looked upon pretty poorly right now. Like we see that like the world doesn't really view them quite well. And so like some things have changed, right? The Kanbei family looked down upon. Modern Crimes Division now actually has a new partner in the form of Husk. So Hugh, the AI, is back to being a good guy again, and he actually helps out the Modern Crimes Division. Like he helps them like get candy from other countries. He helps them get like dates on Tinder, and like they try to use him to cheat at poker, which Husk is like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not gonna do that. That's not fair. And Boss Boo is like, that's against the law, right? And Boss Boo even says that he's now the director of the Modern Crimes Division. They're like, what are you talking about? You were always the director. And he's like, yeah, no, I wasn't. Actually, I was demoted, but I just didn't tell you guys. But now I'm acting director again, so that's cool. And they're like, whoa, that's messed up. And I'm like, whoa, that is messed up. That's really funny, though, and it sort of paints Boss Boo in a different light. He's a lot more clever than than the show initially leads you to think he is. And I also loved that Cho's desk has like flowers and alcohol on it in memoriam. And yeah, Cho, I miss Cho. I wish he could have made it to the end. Him and Take, I wish they made it. But it's cool that like we get this moment where it like celebrates Cho, but also is sort of a nod to Take as well, just to say their goodbyes and stuff. And Hoshino is still in the first, but Haru, interestingly enough, actually turns down returning to the first. He's gonna stay with Modern Crimes, and help out. Help stop the flow of Edolium, which actually leads us back to the Kanbei family, even though they're looked upon poorly. And the estate has been completely vandalized, by the way. Like, the estate is vandalized. Suzue gets herself a well-deserved vacation, though, and my girl looking fine. And Daisuke is currently, he found a new place to live. Buckingham Palace. He lives there now. That's his home. Okay. Yeah, and as I said, like, there is an interesting moment, too, where, like, they meet up with Shigemaru, but again, on the beach, nothing really happens. Daisuke, basically, even though, like, that moment with Shigemaru was sad, Daisuke's pretty much back to normal, and he's helping out Haru, and Modern Crimes Division crew says, like, oh, their day and their nights are switched, and I thought, like, oh, they're working night shifts? No, they're literally on the other side of the planet. They're in the Bronx right now. And Haru is basically tracking down a group of dudes selling Edolium, and he has these like fancy new power gloves that he can use to like stop cars in their tracks and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh man, Haru loves the power glove. It's so bad. And yes, that reference is cheesy, but you know what? This entire ending is full of references. Tons of nods here. Like the crooks literally shout out, Fugo Keiji! Like millionaire detective when Daisuke arrives. So they straight up, Daisuke is now infamous, I guess, as the millionaire detective. And Haru even says, like, what is he, some kind of hero? Like, again, nods to both the characters' past. We see the kid from the train episode actually made it to America and is holding on to the souvenir. So, again, a reference to how Haru and Daisuke's adventures have actually helped out the people around them. The friggin' license plate. The license plate says Ecto 1 Excelsior, which is, like, okay. Ghostbusters takes place in New York. Stan Lee is a famous New Yorker, so both a reference to Ghostbusters and Stan Lee in the same license plate. Stan Lee, obviously, made friggin' Marvel, so, that's the two big, huge New York references. And, of course, the recreation of the first meeting between Daisuke and Haru at the end. The ending is so fun. And the ending is just a reminder, like, the ending scene, I was like, this is what I wish the entire show was. Just, like, this much hype and fun every week. I know that would have been impossible, but it would have been great. And I loved this ending scene so much. This whole finale was brilliant. The finale really lifts the show back up, because, again, I thought there was some shaky parts for Balance Unlimited in the middle, where I was like, I'm kind of falling out of interest. But by the end, it really pulled itself back up, and I'm really going to miss this show. I thought this finale was fantastic. But with that said, everybody, that is a wrap on Balance Unlimited. I'm not going to lie to you. I was kind of hoping we'd get some sort of Season 2 announcement at the end of the episode. But alas, There is none. We will see, though. Maybe it gets a season 2. I don't know. It was pretty popular for a hot second there, so I don't know. We'll see. But before we go, everybody, don't forget to boop that up snoot and share if you care. And, of course, as always, I want to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names. And, hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are now 2 ways to do so. The first is by hitting that link in the description to check out our Patreon page. And the second option for just a wee bit more is by hitting that join button next to the sub button to get yourself a badge next to your name in the comments and premiere chats, as well as emotes to spam in the comments and premiere chats. In fact, if you have them, go ahead and spam them. Spam them whenever, in whatever video. You're not going to see me complain. But with that said, everybody, again, a huge thank you to the T Squadron, and a huge thank you to all of you guys for watching these Balance Unlimited videos, like, in their entirety. Thank you. And until next time, you stay classy, AniTube, and wash your dang hands.